I'm delighted to be joined by Antonio Zrilic, who's on the line from Zagreb in Croatia. Welcome, Antonio. Dobrodošli.
Thank you, Patrick. I'm delighted to be your guest today.
You're very welcome. Delighted to have you. For listeners, could you first situate Croatia for us? Where is it? How big is it? And what is it like in terms of climate and the geographical regions that it has?
Well, Croatia is situated on Mediterranean coast, on Adriatic, to be more precise. But it has some influences also from continental climate. So we actually have two climates in Croatia. On the coast, we have Mediterranean climate, and then in continent more continental climate. So we have snow and we have mountains and in the winter, but in the summer we have hot summers and very nice to be on the coast at that time.
Yeah, it's a very beautiful country. I was there in April for the first time, and I was both on the coast and in the interior, and it's quite spectacular. It's amazing, really, how there is so much in such a small area. Because the size of the country, it's smaller than Ireland, right?
Yeah, it's something like that. And another thing is that it has a strange shape. So it's like. I don't know how to describe it, like banana or something like that. It's very curved, and it's difficult to connect it all around. Yeah. So this is a challenge that we have in traffic and this area.
Yeah, it's almost hugging Bosnia. It's kind of an embrace around Bosnia.
Yes, that's historical thing because at some time a few centuries ago that was one well, we could say country, but one geographical entity. So when the Turks were invading Europe, they just went into the belly of Croatia and like a wedge, and that shape remained all the till today.
Yeah, so that historical frontier is still there. Just talking about history and maybe a bit more recently, Croatia was part of the former Yugoslavia up until about 1991, I think. And you and I think about the same age, so you would have been probably in your 20s at that time. So just a few questions around that. What was life like in Yugoslavia, and when it broke up, what was the process for Croatia to become independent? And what was your experience of that period in the early 90s?
That was very exciting experience. I was a student at the time, and Yugoslavia was a socialist country, but it was federal country. So it consisted out of 6 republics and 2 autonomous regions that are now part of Serbia. One is actually Kosovo, and it's an independent country now. But so it was a very, very different and diverse country, and it was united under this idea of Yugoslavia. Actually, the idea was originated in Croatia. Croatia was under Habsburg monarchy during centuries, and it has some romantic idea that if we unite in these Slavic nations on south in Balkan, it would be better off for us. But it ended up like it in 1991. when there was end of this communist era on East Europe, and that was a trigger for some changes in Croatia, also some economic and some political changes. And when changes came, there was no some substance or something that together anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the.
And it wasn't so easy. There was actually a war, isn't that right?
Yeah, it was very, very bloody war, and some republics wanted to get out, and some wanted to keep Yugoslavia as it is, because Croatia and Slovenia that wanted to get out were richer than the other part of Yugoslavia, and probably there were some economic reasons. The other reasons are purely geographical and expansion of some very old idea of Greater Serbia, and this was actually the real reason for the war. Yeah.
And on a personal level, at that time, where were you? What were you involved in? How did you live through those years?
Well, I was in Croatia the whole time. I was a student here in Zagreb, and we lived through this this time. So we when there were some attacks, we went to shelters, and then it was like normal for us at that time. These 2 or 3 years, from 91 to 92 or 93 or something like that.
Yeah, and then coming forward in time, I think around 2013, which is about 5 years ago, Croatia joined the European Union, although it still has its own currency, the kuna. So in those 5 years, how has membership of the European Union changed Croatia for the better or for the worse, in terms of social aspects and the economy and so on?
Definitely, becoming a member of the EU helped Croatia greatly, because there were on our disposal a lot of EU funds that we could use for our development. And although we are not champions in getting all the funds that are on our disposals, but anyway, the main thing is distribution of these funds, because this EU procedure is more, I would say, is better than the former distribution of Croatian budget that goes. We have this heritage of communism, and in communism there was no thing who will or what company will get more developed for and developing for the country or for more profitability. It was all about that everybody is that everybody has a working place, and that everybody is secured, that everybody has health insurance and social security, and so that heritage is actually burden for today's Croatia, because it is not a very efficient way to run the country. Yeah? And now this EU distribution helps to be more efficient.
Okay. And you still, in Croatia, you still use your currency, the kuna, which I guess is probably pegged to the euro. What's the value of a kuna with respect to a euro?
It's 7.5 kuna for 1 euro.
Okay, and that stays fairly constant, is that right?
Yeah, there are some fluctuations during the year, but it stays fixed. Yeah.
And does the Croatian government intend to adopt the euro at some point in the future?
Yes, there are some talks now that we are going to adapt euro, maybe after 2020. Well, it is a long process to get in EU monetary system. So there is this process has begun, but it will probably take some years for that.
Okay, and right now in Croatia, what are the main economic sectors currently, and where do you see good potential for future growth for the Croatian economy?
Well, traditionally in Croatia we have agriculture and food industry well developed. There is also textile industry, but textile industry is based on some we call it loan jobs or this sub. What is the word? Well, it's not original.
It's subcontracted. Is that what you meant to say?
Subcontracting, yes.
Yeah.
So it's not very profitable, and this was one of the main industries in former Yugoslavia and now in Croatia. But it's very work intensive, and people that work in this industry have very small salaries. Then we have also wood processing industry, metal processing industry, chemical industry, petroleum, also electrical industry, construction, trade, shipbuilding, and tourism as one of bigger industries that is very successful.
Okay. Checking on Wikipedia, I see that Croatia has a similar population to Ireland, somewhere between 4 and 5 million, but the population has been declining over the last 25 years or so. So what's the reason for this, and what's being done about it?
Well, actually, our population has been declining for 120 or so years, because there were several waves of immigration from Croatia, starting on the crossing of 19th to 20th century. This was economical reasons for this immigration. But then after World War II, there was a political immigration, and during 60s, then again there was Yugoslavia was very open socialist country, and they actually incented people to go out of the Yugoslavia and to work in Germany or somewhere in Europe, because it was easier to maintain a full employment here in Yugoslavia. And another good thing were these transfers from those people that work in outside of the country, and they send the money to Yugoslavia and Croatia. So this was during 60s. Then again during 70s there were some political problems here in Croatia, and then a lot of people went out of the Croatia for political reasons. And then there was 90s, and there was war, and a lot of people went as refugees, and also after that as for economic reasons. And now there are 2010, and after that again there was these economic reasons, because we had very long recession, and people went in search for better for the jobs and for better life.
But you didn't do that. You decided in the middle of the recession to set up a business in Zagreb, a consultancy business. So
yes.
so
yes.
what so what kind what kind go ahead.
That was a good idea, but
and what kind of services do you provide to your clients, and what kind of business sectors do you focus on?
Well, I am a managing director of Logical Consulting, and we are specialized for supply chain management.
Have I lost
region. We provide some value for the clients, reducing costs and providing them a better productivity, improving cash flow, faster growth, and efficient decision making. This is part of our scope of our services here in Croatia.
And you have actually done work with an associate consultancy here in Dublin, and you've come to Ireland and you've done some work in Ireland. So do you see potential for mutually beneficial links, economic links or cultural links between Ireland and Croatia in the future? And if you do, in what kind of areas?
Yes, we have done some strategic alliance with Alba Consulting in Ireland, and we want to do some also to expand and to exchange know-how and some and do things outside of Croatia, because Croatia is a small country, and like Ireland, we also have to be very open and expand our services and goods for globally. And one of the challenges in Croatia is that mentality that these companies are very focused on just doing business in Croatia or even in smaller geographic regions within Croatia. So I want to be open-minded, and that's why I think regarding the second part of your question, we are in Croatia are very similar with Ireland, and we are culturally very compatible, and that's why actually our people have chosen the island for their new country.
Yeah, I was going to actually ask you about that. So I have noticed over the last couple of years that there are quite a lot of Croatian nationals living and working in Ireland, particularly in the cities such as Dublin and Cork. So I was wondering, what is the perception of Ireland in Croatia, and why do you think so many of them come to live and work here?
Well, as I said, a similar culture, and another thing is that our people also are very adaptable, and they're actually hard-working people, and they want anyway anywhere in the world when where they come, they are very hard-working, and in many cases they succeed and in life. So Ireland is was very open at the time, and was a fast-growing economy, and absorbed many of our people that went to Ireland. So I think, the one thing that probably they bothered them is the weather, but anything else is great.
And talking about this flexibility of Croatians, and I noticed many years ago when I lived in Spain, Croatian footballers would come to play, say, for Real Madrid, and in the first presentation they'd have an interpreter, and then maybe 3-4 weeks later they're on the TV again in Spain and they're speaking fluent Spanish, and I go, what's going on here? How is it that Croatians are so good at learning foreign languages?
That's also a historical thing. But also in connection with the fact that Croatia is a small country, and when you are a small country constituted of 4 million or 4.5 million people that speak your language, you have to learn another languages. Also, those people that went out during last 100 years and they actually came. Some of them came back, and they also maintained this culture of speaking foreign languages, and that's why we want to be adaptable. Wherever we come, we want to speak this language.
Yeah, it's quite impressive. And another impressive thing about Croatia: how is it that such a small nation of little more than 4 million people has such a good national soccer team? I mean, you guys got to the final of the World Cup this year. How did that happen?
Well, I have a theory about that, but it's not only a soccer that we are good at. It's also basketball. We were at some time in '98 second on Olympic games. Only better was Dream Team from NBA. And we are also in handball very good. We are in the final of Davis Cup in tennis. We have many good. We had the best female ski player,
skier. Yeah,
in the world, in the history maybe. Why is that? I have a little theory, and that says that actually Croatia was during the centuries was maintaining the border here with the Turkish Empire, and those people were all the time in a state of emergency and war. And also Napoleon said once that if he had 100,000 Croats, he would conquer the world. So they were known as good fighters. And now in peace time, there is no war, but there is a sport field where we can show our how good we are in fighting. Yeah.
It's interesting, and we're glad to say that there's no more fighting going on. So lately, in recent years, many Irish people have discovered Croatia as a tourist destination. So what would you recommend to Irish holidaymakers when they go to Croatia in terms of where they should go, what they should do, what they should eat and drink? What's typical, what's good?
Well, Croatia is a beautiful country, and this is because it's very diverse and different. There are different parts in this small country, as I explained in the beginning. We have, for example, on the Adriatic coast, we have over 1,000 islands, and we have also mountains over 1,700 meters, and so. We have different climates, and that's why we have different, and also we have different influences from, for example, from Hungary, from Austria, and from Italy, and from Turkish part. So we have different food and different wine, very good wines, and it's for all tourists that come in Croatia. They always say that it's incredible how is here. The climate and food and drink, and what do you need anymore?
Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Antonio. It's been a pleasure to speak to you about Croatia, which is a fascinating country. And many thanks, and look forward maybe to speaking to you again sometime in the future.
Yes, it was a pleasure also from my side, and yeah, it would be a pleasure to speak to you again.
Great. Thanks, Antonio. Bye. Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you for listening to Interlinks today. Next time we will pick up with a different topic related to globalization and have a look at that in a bit more detail. And we'll have another guest from an overseas location. And we're lining up speakers from Spain, Mexico, US and United Arab Emirates for the next programs. So look forward to speaking with you again. Thank you and bye for now.